Hello and welcome to a video walkthrough of the first level of my game. I'm just going to select new game. Get this away. Takes a couple of tries, there we go. Right, so this is the hub world. There's only one entrance so far. Looks a bit basic now, but it's only a work in progress. And that takes you to the first level of my game called the Furry Forest. And it's fully complete now, so I'm just going to give you a little walkthrough of what I intend the player to do and see in this level, and my creative processes through it. So these coins you just run across and collect, and it guides you over to this signpost which teaches the player how to jump, and with it comes a platforming challenge. You can also do a double jump, which I expect the player to learn from that pretty tall jump there, because it's not tall enough for the player to do with a single jump. Through this they might also accidentally learn how to wall jump, but that is something they'll learn later as well. And they'll have to quickly platform here to avoid this enemy. And they can go one of two ways there. They can go, if I can do it, they can go up the ramp, which is the more obvious choice because it's easier and there's coins guiding them up. Or if they're feeling a little daring, they can go over here and get their first collectible, which I don't expect them to do yet, because I expect them to take the easy way out, which will give them their second and third tutorial. It teaches the player what yarns are and that they need them to unlock new worlds in the game. And then this teaches you about wall jumps and some techniques you can do out of wall jumps, like an extra jump. If the player finds that section too difficult, they can just take this elevator, which is also guided by coins. Now the player can go one of two ways here. They can go that way, which seems a little easier, but they do get a power-up out of it, which can help them with some of the platforming over here. The power-up has a limited time duration, so if they do collect it, they'll have to do the following sections quite quickly, but it just makes life a little easier for the player. They're going to have to be quick with this elevator because it goes up and down fairly fast. What this power up does is it gives the player a third jump, which I thought would just be a nice way to change up the pace of the game. There are some sections in this level where this power up is necessary, like this one I'm about to show off. Quite a hard jump, but this is a part I expect the player to get to later. So the power ups do respawn. You'll see that it's respawned over there, and I'll collect this one so I'm able to do this section, because you need the 3 jumps to get over it. That appears to be a bug with the timer. If you've got the power up already, it looks like it doesn't refresh the timer, which I'm going to have to work on. Small bugs like this you can only find through testing the game regularly, so it does help to test as often as you can. Now these hills I've dotted around the map just add a little visual flair to the level, but it also stops the player from jumping over them. I've tried it from every angle, it is impossible. Here I'd like to show off something called subworlds, where you can dive down this pipe and go to a mini world within the main world. Power-ups do transfer over, along with collectibles and coins. And if the player makes it to the end of here, they're awarded with a collectible. And these will be quite common throughout my game. And there's a stronger version of the enemy there, which I failed to avoid. Now the timer on this power-up is quite long, but it definitely will. I'll just demonstrate what happens when you die in the game. If you die, you go back to the beginning of each scene. There isn't any penalty right now, but I'm hoping to add a game over screen later in the game's development. Now this power up is taking a long time to go, but it will go, I hope. Just wait for it. Whilst that's going, I'll show you off this section of my game. Subworld for this pipe isn't quite done yet, but I still consider World 1 finished, as this is not a main part of my world. This also has a tutorial teaching how to do pipes. This power up does not want to go. Might have to figure out why that's happening. And there's just enemies here. I just thought it'd be a fun section. There we go. Power-up's gone. Don't have free jumps anymore. There's an enemy over here, so if the player decided they did want to be curious and walk over to it, see what it is, they would learn pretty soon that it chases after you. I've been told the enemies don't look very menacing so far, but probably add a spike or something to them. This teaches you about dashing, which I was doing, like when you see the little particle effect behind the player, that's a dash. So everything's faster in a dash, so that means jumps that are originally too long you can make with a dash. And you can mix up dashes and not dashes, and it adds a new depth. We'll get into why the dash is necessary when we get to that section of the level. So over here, the player is intended to do a wall jump here, which they don't need the dash for, so I'll show you without the dash. Wall jump's a little slower. But when they get to this section over here, they're going to realise that if they don't do a dash wall jump, they're just not going to make that distance. So if you hold down shift, you do make it a lot quicker. You can actually scale this wall. And if they make it all the way to the top, there's a coin reward, and they can also jump down here to get the collectible. There's an alternate way up here, where they can go up these moving bars. It's a little simpler for anyone who can't quite grasp the platform challenge. This is the first world, so I don't expect the players to know all of these techniques, but it helps to give them the opportunity to learn it anyway. Also allows more experienced players the opportunity to go through the game faster. Now the last two collectibles, there's one over there, but there is another section of my level which isn't visible at the start. I almost missed that. Now, there's a lot of enemies here, but if you guide them effectively, you can stop them from chasing you. There's nothing down here yet. I might in the future add a few bits like more sub-worlds down here. So the last part of my level I'd like to show off is this part over here, which is if you wait for this elevator to come down. The player will usually see this elevator on the first time up here, so they'll know something's here for them to do. Well, this takes you to the second part of this level, which is the clouds up here. And I just thought this gave the level a nice feeling of depth and something surprising for the player if they manage to make it all the way up here. I feel like this will be a theme throughout my game, that vertical exploration will lead to some interesting discoveries. And when I get this yarn back here, it's a hidden one, but I expect the player to be curious enough to make it back here. That's all I wanted to show off, really. Oh dear, there's a floating tree. I think on that I'm going to leave it here, and thank you for watching.